Thank you, Gunnery Sergeant Hartman and Steve Stockman. It is Wednesday, November 2nd. Welcome to the 26th edition of the Rick Fowler Show. I hope your Wednesday has been good. I have Steve Mayworm in the studio. Say hello, Covenal.
Hey, how we doing, everyone?
He is excited for Game 7 tonight. He is adorned in the Cubs t-shirt and the Cubs hat.
With the World Series patch on it.
Where's the jersey? Is it outside in the car?
No, it's at home.
You're letting me down, you know that. Guys, this is the 6-month anniversary of Riot Radio, so we have stuck around 6 months. I'm not sure how, but we have done it. So here are your deep teases today. We have a guest in the studio. Mr. Joe Adams will be with us in just a few minutes. He is a member of the United States Marine Corps, private investigator, CIA operative, trainer of the Contras in the 80s, Steve Mayworm.
That's interesting.
And currently a Border Patrol expert. We're going to have the Cubs report from you later.
Okay.
In the second hour. We're going to talk NCAA football. We'll do This Week in History. So, hey, I want to let everybody know there is a benefit for my buddy Bobby Jett. November 5th. It's going to be a Muscatoli dinner this weekend at the Caseyville Moose Lodge. Doors open at 5. Dinner from 6 to 8:30. Bob, if you've listened the last few weeks, is suffering from stage 4 lymphoma. This is designed to help him with living expenses. No stranger to cancer. It's an SOB, I'll tell you that. So, if you're in Caseyville, Shane Hopkins, rally the troops and get them out there. Today's show is sponsored and presented by Mike Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camps. Locate them online at Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camps. So, Steve, how's your week been?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah?
Yep.
It looks like your schedule is about to change, and we will not have you every Wednesday, huh?
Yeah, not every Wednesday. It'll be very, when I'm on vacation or so.
A little short-lived.
I'll be here next week, though.
Short-lived for the Covenal. Okay, well, we got a good show here, and I tell you, our guest could easily go a couple of hours. So without further ado, we're going to get to him. Let me introduce him here. Our first guest. In 1970, and this is going to be the longest intro I've ever done. Our guest joined the United States Marines, taking an oath to defend the country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. He worked for the CIA, DEA, FBI, as well as foreign militaries friendly to the United States. Listen to this. He even provided bodyguard services for Dr. Adolfo Calero, who was Reagan's pick to be the new Nicaraguan president back in the 80s.
I think I remember him.
Serious stuff.
He's part of the Contras, I think.
You got it. Their goal was to overthrow the Sandinistan government, which is communist. After a tour as a military leader in Burma and then with the Croatian Rangers to train troops, he is now the head of Project Blue Light Scouts, a privately funded group that patrols the southern border. Welcome, Colonel Joe Adams.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm very honored to be here.
How was that intro? Did I nail it?
I dozed off. I'm sorry.
I need some oxygen after that.
You left a lot out, but that was pretty good.
That's a new record, the longest intro that we've ever had. Welcome. It's an honor to have you in here in the Riot Radio studio.
Thank you.
You're born in Ohio, served in the Marines in Vietnam from 70 to 72.
Actually, I worked in Laos.
Okay.
We did resupply missions in Vietnam and Cambodia, but my duty station was in Laos.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service.
Oh, no, believe me, my pleasure.
Honor in our country. I don't know. Do you know Brian Dolan? He's got a show here.
No, I don't.
Brian Dolan was a Marine, St. Louis PD. He did volunteer down at Ground Zero and then also worked in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I figured at some point you guys' paths would have crossed.
I did some work in Afghanistan, but very limited. So
you guys probably know a million people the same.
Probably, yeah. I was trying to buy shoulder-held missiles from the Al-Qaeda that we had supplied at the time and try to buy them back for the Burmese resistance. So I was actually trying to buy back the shoulder-helds that the CIA gave them. So
It's not every day you go out and try to buy a shoulder-held missile, Steve. Huh?
Yeah, that's true.
For all the right reasons, though.
You don't exactly get those down at Central Hardware.
Nope.
Actually, it was a Mujahideen. I'm sorry. It was a Mujahideen then.
All right. So you're an excellent marksman, which has kind of been a hallmark of your career as a soldier.
Right.
Did that come from being on the farm in Ohio?
Well, it started there. I mean, if you were 8 years old and a boy on a farm and didn't have already have a shotgun, then you were shunned. So
Right.
yeah, no. What I did when I got out of the Marine Corps, I got into heavily athletics.
Right.
I think it was kind of my therapy. In the early 70s and late 60s, if you were in the military, you were not very popular in this country.
Right.
So I just got into athletics and into bodybuilding, powerlifting. At the same time, though, I started acquiring and training very hard with weapons and for marksmanship. And by the time into the 80s, I was probably one of 10 or 12 people that can do the long shots. By that time, 1,000 yards was nothing. So
Wow.
and which is why I got recruited by the CIA to go with the Contras and train their bodyguards and provide security.
If I'm playing bocce ball and the court is 91 feet long, I have to squint to see the end of it. My eyes aren't that good. So now here's a question. How did you go from kid on a farm in Ohio into the Marines, and then you're Mr. Missouri in 74, right?
Right.
And also a Missouri State powerlifting champ at the same time?
Same day.
Which nowadays that doesn't happen. It's hard to do. You don't do both nowadays. Back then, you were a stud if you did that. While also working as a bounty hunter, right?
Oh, extensively,
You
yeah.
did that. How do you do that and then go to training troops in Central America?
Well,
How do you make that leap?
it was important for me to find a job that I could carry a gun. And because of the way the laws are written, in bounty hunting, you could carry a gun in the state of Missouri and in other states. And so I had an ability. I started working like as a PI part-time, like in 78, and I had an ability to find people who didn't want to be found. And that comes from the Marine Corps. I was with Marine Corps Intelligence. So the Marine Corps made my career because the things I learned in the Marine Corps spun off in the private investigative world. And I'll be honest with you, when I retired in 06, I was like the number one PI on the planet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
All because of the Marine Corps. And I didn't see it coming. When I lived on a farm, if you asked me when I was 18 years old what was going to be my future, I was going to be the world's greatest horse trainer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I became a champion marksman, world class, and I was at a cocktail party. And based on my background, too, they knew that I was former military intelligence.
Right.
And the CIA asked me to, if I would consider going to Central America and providing security and providing bodyguard training for the Contras. Now, I'll be honest with you, and not too many people know this. All I heard was blah, blah, blah guns, blah, blah, blah Central America, blah, blah, blah bodyguards. And I go, yeah, I didn't know who the Contras were.
Sure, we'll go to Mars, the moon.
Yeah,
You got some guns up there?
That's all I heard was I get to go to Central America and train bodyguards and carry guns.
And Joe's eyes light up. Yeah, where do I sign up at?
Whatever the Contras is, I'm in.
Right. And so just for those that are not up on your history, the quick story with the Contras, the Reagan administration got caught selling some weapons to Iran with the hopes of freeing some prisoners in Lebanon. Profits were used to fund the Contras in Nicaragua, and they're going to help to overthrow Sandinista government, which is a communist government. And that's the story they give, right? I know there's a million backstories.
Backed by Russian in Cuba.
Right. And so it was a battle of the big brothers involved. So you were the guy picked to work as Calero's bodyguard, keep the guy alive.
Well, they were trying to kill him. They were trying. The people I protected, they were trying to kill. It wasn't a rumor.
Right. And so tell me the typical day in the life of protecting Calero.
Pretty intense. I would do my best. Again, I'm working in a third world country.
Right.
And this man was former president of Coca-Cola in Nicaragua, which might sound like a joke, but that was probably the main industry in Nicaragua. That's big money. And he was pro-democratic. He was living in exile in Honduras. So why I got called in was because the Boland Amendment. Congress had stopped funding the Contras, stopped funds. And so a little lieutenant colonel named Oliver North got with Ronald Reagan and said, okay, well, let's do this covertly. We're going to have to go to the private sectors. And they contacted me. I went to a cocktail party not even knowing what this was about, and got pulled off to the side and go, here's the deal. I go, well, I'm so far in. Let's do this. Then I got down there and I trained all the directorate, which was like their Congress, and secured the house, the quarters that we had facilitated from the Honduran government. And when I was down there, Dr. Calero said, "Would you consider coming down here full time and running the whole show?" And I go, "Well, this is a piece of history,
right?
Of course I will. Yeah. Who wouldn't? I mean, come on."
Right. Let's see. Read the TV guide, watch cable TV, go to Central America with guns, money, and history. Yeah, I think that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Right. So you also had a hand in training the Contra rebels. Were they properly equipped? Now, you come from the Marine Corps background where you probably had the best of everything, right?
No.
Well, we had hoped that our troops would.
Well, the Marines get the bottom of the barrel.
Right,
so.
But still, not third world country stuff.
Actually, the Contras were more successful after I arrived, because what I did, I coordinated the indigenous forces around it. There's a lot of different Contra groups. So I basically spearheaded and organized, because some of the Contra groups had landmines, and some of them had Uzi machine guns, but nobody had a little bit of everything. So I coordinated the weapons exchange between the Contra groups, and which it greatly escalated the war down there against the communists.
So you spread it around, made sure everybody had a little something.
Yeah, right. So where I got in trouble, here's how I got indicted. There was a group of mercenaries down there working, American mercenaries, and they were at one of the camps that I would take Dr. Calero around. Again, you asked me about the daily schedule. I'll get back to that. So I run into these Americans and who couldn't even get batteries for their flashlights, and so I kind of helped them out with supplies and things. And then I heard about an operation going inside called Operation Pegaso that was going to involve American volunteers fighting with the Contra rebels, and I'm going like, oh. So I asked for a leave of absence from Dr. Calero to go inside and fight. End up leading the command and went inside, and that's how I got indicted for violation of neutrality, which was waging a war against a country that we're not a declared war with.
Okay.
And I went before a federal judge. I was the first one indicted. They indicted me, Colonel North, General Secord, Admiral Poindexter, at Pussy McFarland, who tried to commit suicide, and our CIA station chief, which was the first time a CIA station chief in Honduras, Hernandez, had ever been indicted for anything. Right. So I go before the judge, and he was very pro NRA with everything. He says, I'm going to sentence you right now, which my attorneys almost had a heart attack, because there's supposed to be a sentencing investigation. And I'm in there 5 minutes, and I'm going to jail. And so the judge says, before I sentence you, do you have anything to say? And I go, yeah, I got a lot to say. And of course, my attorney kicked me.
Let me stop you first. This is family friendly. We're being looked at by the iHeartRadio network. I don't want you to blow it for us, Joe.
Okay, all right. I'll behave myself. So the judge says, I'll sentence you right now. And I got something to say. And he says, go ahead. And I said, who do you think I work for? What do you think we're doing down there, playing wet towels? I mean, this is serious.
Right.
So the judge says, yeah, I agree. So I'm going to sentence you to 1 day unsupervised probation. Now, don't forget, I'm facing 32 years in prison.
Right.
1 day unsupervised probation and a $50 fine. He says, and when you go have a beer with me to tell me what really is going on down there.
Oh, that's great.
So I got the right judge.
That's hilarious.
I know.
First guy indicted in the Iran-Contra stuff. And he gets a 1 day unsupervised probation and a $50 fine.
Now, that's not done. The judge comes back and reverses the decision, saying, and a federal judge, this is case law now, that war is war, declared or undeclared, covert or overt. If the United States sponsors it, covert or overtly, it's at war. He's not guilty.
Well, that's awesome. Not that it really mattered at that point, did it? Because you were
I was already back in Burma. I didn't care.
Yeah, right.
Doing the same thing.
But it sounded nice. Hey, I was not guilty. So, what do you think about this, Steve?
Pretty cool.
Pretty fascinating stuff.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you had a real serious cat here.
I'll give you another little tidbit, which your listeners will enjoy. This.
Yes.
This is behind the scenes, and and I'm a married man now. Okay, and I'm totally dedicated to my wife. I've got the greatest woman on the planet, but she enjoys the story. When the trial was over, the FBI agents who were assigned to investigate me, and the U.S. attorney who was in charge to prosecute me said, "Can we take you to lunch?" I said, "Okay,
that's great.
That's fine." So my attorney says to me, tell the U.S. attorney about behind the scenes what's going on. And I said, well, okay, now's the time. So I leaned across the table and I said, hey, Mr. U.S. Attorney, why all these months you were hammering me, I've been hammering your secretary.
Oh, yow.
Well, she lost her job.
Yeah, I guess. And the mic dropped. Hey, guys, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to the Rick Fowler Show on Riot Radio. We have Colonel Joe Adams in the studio. Joe was a member of the Marines, and he was part of the Iran-Contra situation in the 80s. He was one of Reagan's guys picked to protect Adolfo Calero. He was our pick for the Nicaraguan presidency. So telling us some of the stories, and we have a whole lot to get to, and it's all going to be good. I can guarantee that. He was the first guy indicted. He received probation, unsupervised, and a $50 fine. So a typical day with Calero was pretty treacherous, huh?
It was treacherous because they don't understand. When we had a saying, when you went to Central America, just throw your watch away and put on a different watch, because they don't run by our timetable. We get things done on the spot. Mm-hmm. So I would try and get like a pre-plan of his movements. And the dangerous thing with him, he liked to go out to the rebel camps and get up on a platform in front of 3,000 people with rifles.
You're saying, we're going to mark that off the list.
Yeah,
can't do any more of that.
No, he insisted. We had no choice. So here I'm standing by myself with my immediate bodyguards that I trained, looking at people that I don't even know.
Right. Waiting for a gun.
Boom. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we were able to, we got by that. So what I ended up doing is I had them stage their weapons in cavalry style before they would come up to the podium and he would speak. This is in Nicaragua and Honduras.
Right.
This is out in no man's land.
Real safe place.
Oh yeah, real safe.
Right. Wow, that's crazy stuff. So, what was his living conditions like? Did he have a mansion, nice place, any amenities?
Well, the United States government was paying the Honduran government $450 million a year to let us operate there.
Okay.
So they actually rented us a house, a palace, up on top of a mountainside, and I wanted that because I had an observation. Nobody could walk up on the house or get close to us without us seeing them through thermal imagery or night vision. So.
Right.
And that was very nice facilities.
Oh, yeah. Lived almost like a king, I bet.
In Central America, yes, absolutely.
And here's the theme of the Rick Fowler Show. Did they feed you good?
I gained weight in Central America until I went on combat operations, because we would go on combat operations between 12 and 14 days straight, and I had a saying, I would wear a medium going in and I would wear a small coming out.
Right.
In uniforms. Yeah,
right.
It would drop about 25, 30 pounds per mission.
But you put a little weight on before, which was helpful.
Oh yeah, sure.
Good. That's awesome.
We had a gym down there. We trained. So
wow, interesting stuff. So And so it turns out that President Bush's, and then we're talking about Herbert Walker, his argument was that the Iran-Contra was really a case where the Democrats had pursued a political witch hunt to almost punish the Republicans over their disagreements with foreign policy. And we're all fighting for the U.S., but they just got pissed on how it was handled, right?
Well, more than that, they were just after Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I mean, Ronald Reagan's private project was the Contras. You know, when we took Adolfo Calero to get the American Freedom Medal in the Oval Office, I knew right then Reagan was obsessed. In fact, it was interesting when the picture came out of Dr. Calero receiving the Freedom Medal from Ronald Reagan. Oliver North was in the background standing by the American flag, but yet when the picture was published in the Washington Post, they had airbrushed him out.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I never asked where the money was coming from. You know, we operated out of carrying El Salvadorian passports,
right. And
we were paid in traveler's checks, which became a real issue during the Iran-Contra hearings. So, like I said, I'm paid by the CIA. I'm working with the CIA on a daily basis. So that's what I just told the judge. I mean,
that's crazy.
Who do you think I am?
Right. Hey, guys, we have Joe Adams in here, Colonel Joe Adams. He was part of the Iran-Contras. We did have a caller on the line. So if you have a question for Joe, give me a call back. The number is 618-223-8054. What do you think, Steve?
I think this is neat.
Pretty interesting stuff.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you and I could be bounty hunters. We hit up the local pizza places. Right? Huh?
Yep.
We'll show up looking real hungry. Mm-hmm. We'll walk away with full bellies. Okay, on to Burma in Southeast Asia afterwards to train some more troops, right?
Yeah, this was very fortunate. In fact, that was probably the best mission I ever went on. Again, working for the company. The Central Intelligence Agency. Yeah. During the Iran-Contra trials, I was contacted by the Burmese resistance, and they wanted me to do exactly the same thing that I've been doing for the Contras. And so I took a contract and went over there, worked there on and off for 2 years. And I organized and trained the DABA, the Democratic Alliance Burma Army, which is an all-student revolutionary group. Because in 1988, the dictator Ne Win in Burma, which is now Myanmar, which is nothing but changing the sign. Nothing's changed. They just changed the name, and I'll explain why. They closed the universities down. So instead of training campesinos or the poor people in Central America, I now have college students.
Really? Smart ones.
Yeah, and professors who are used to absorbing material. So I probably got in 3 months what it took me 2 years with the Contras, but these kids were just so intelligent.
And hard workers, I bet.
Yes, and they were supporting Aung San Suu Kyi, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, who now the Obamas prayed around like they're their best friends. She was imprisoned by Ne Win, the dictatorship in Burma. And so what I did, I trained the students for sabotage to go back in and take it to the dictatorships, and was very successful.
And so from there you went on, you worked with the Croatian Rangers.
Actually, that was in 91. Actually, I did a small stint for a counter-bombing squad in, unfortunately, the government of South Africa during apartheid.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I don't broadcast that too much because what I saw when I went over there, I couldn't wait to leave.
Pretty bad.
Oh yeah, it was just a slaughter, and I've never heard anybody who didn't have it coming. So I didn't agree with their politics, and I came back. So I was over there a few months, but strictly working on counter demolition things with vehicles. Then I went to. In 91, I had done some weapons deals, buying weapons for the Contras from Croatian weapons dealers out of Germany, and these guys were even in the early 80s, were saying someday we're going to succeed from Belgrade, the Serbians, and we're going to have our own country, and Slovenia is going to succeed. And I did a little research, and I told some friends of mine, I said, if these guys ever succeed from the Union and declare independence, I'm going. So I was walking through the house, and I always have CNN News on a big screen in my house because I want to make sure I'm not on the news.
Right.
So, and I see that Croatia has declared succession. I'm going, oh, this is great. So I call my friends in the company, the CIA, and say, hey, one more time. It's probably my last time because I'm going to be 41 years old, real soon then. And so I went over to Croatia, and actually was on the way to Sarajevo to emancipate the city that had been closed down. And I went over on a fictitious name, of course, and I was on my way to Sarajevo when the convoy pulled over to the side of the road.
Was it John Black?
Yes, it was John Black.
I've done my homework.
John Black. But you know that funny story about what I said to the journalist, right? Okay, I'll share that again with you. So I went on my way to Sarajevo to emancipate the city, and a convoy pulls over, and they open the back flap on the deuce and a half truck I'm on, and I'm with a bunch of Bulgarian mercenaries, and a young major says, hey, who's John Black? And I'm thinking, this is not good. So, and I said, it'd be me, so we could step off the truck. So I stepped off the truck, and he says, we know who you are. We know about you. Would you stay here with us and train a special forces unit for some dark ops? And I go, look, I just want to be one of the guys, because every time I go to these places, I always end up in charge, and I miss some of the action. No, this is my last rodeo.
Right.
I know that. He says, well, he explained himself. He said, it's an artillery war right now. We don't have any black ops behind enemy lines. Would you stay and train? And I said, no, I just want to go to Sarajevo and emancipate the city. And he goes, no, all these people in these trucks are going to die. And I said, see, and I laugh when somebody tells me that. I said, well, if anybody survives, it'll be me. But he goes, look, if you really want to help us fight for democracy, would you please stay back here and do a dark ops operation for us? And I go, okay, but there's rules I have. And he goes, what's the rules? I go, first of all, there are no rules. Okay, and second, I need logistical support to support these operations. And three, when the training's done, I lead them behind the lines.
Yeah.
So he's looking at me like, well, what's wrong with that?
Right.
But then, by the time the United Nations gets there, all those good things are all gone. So
Right.
we were very successful, and I did that, and of course, I now have a democratic state. So
That's a great thing.
yeah, very good.
Wow. Steve, do you get the impression that Joe plays the game to win?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Throw the rules out the window. You either win or you're losing.
Yep.
Yeah, and Joe's he's not on the losing end of anything.
Nope.
But that little cute story, and this is worth talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm in Croatia, and we're training and getting ready to graduate from class, and we're going to go behind enemy lines and take it to the enemy and the Belgrade dictatorship. So one of the officers, one of my junior officers, said to me one night, the guys are playing pool down at a little cantina. Would you come down and watch them play pool and just hang out with the guys? And I can't really do that a lot because you have to separate officers from the enlisted personnel.
Right.
They said, we'd really appreciate it, Colonel, if you would come down there and just show up. So I said, okay. So I go down to the little NCO club, and they're playing pool, and you could see on their face, they just can't believe I'm going to come down and hang out with the guys, right?
Right.
And they said, we got a problem, though, Colonel. Over there are a bunch of journalists,
Uh-oh.
and they want to talk to you. But by now I've got a full beard, and I look like one of the locals. And I said, well, all right, let's go over and talk to them. So we walk over, and the journalists are all there. And I said, this is Colonel Black. He's in charge of our unit with the 2nd Brigade's Special Forces Operation Group, Croatian Rangers. And they said, oh, okay. And then they started speaking in Croatian. I said, I'm not a Croatian, I'm an American. And they were shocked. I mean,
He fits right in.
Who is this guy?
Right.
Where'd he come from? And so they said, so you're American? I said, yeah, Marine. And he said, so your name's John Black? And I said, well, no, it's not really John Black. It's my name I use every time I go to a different country, I would use a color as my last name. Like in Burma, I was Colonel Blue, and just different things. So because they understand, it's easier for them to understand a color. So, and so this Croatian journalist got offended. He said, oh, so for Croatia you use black? And I said, no, I just ran out of colors.
It's a black thing. Who knew? Even back then it would be a black.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That's crazy. Guys, if you just tuned in, we've got Colonel Joe Adams in the Riot Radio studio. He's telling us some of his backstory with the Marines, the Iran-Contras. In the mid-'90s, you came back, you did the private investigator thing.
Yeah, I went full-time. Well, I was always an investigator, but what I would do when I got a government contract, then I would leave my investigative agency, go to a foreign country, serve out my contract, then come back and be a PI here out of St. Louis.
I gotcha. And so some of your, one of your memorable cases involved the girl from Chesterfield. You located her and the guy that was a kind of a wacko, Paul Detko, right?
Yeah, crazy Paul, yeah.
You followed him.
I found him.
You found him. Costa Rica?
Yeah.
How in the world does this, this guy, he's got this little girl, who knows where, and you follow him to Costa Rica.
Yeah, well...
You posed to be just a regular tourist.
I was a tourist, yeah. I took off my Marine Corps ring, took off my my Rolex, whatever. So
watched him. He puts on the Hannibal Lecter flower shirt and hat.
He was in disguise. He had shoes specially built up and everything to where he was taller than he was supposed to be. Because when I first found him, and I had the Chesterfield police report, I'm like, this guy is a lot taller.
Right.
He's wearing a wig and he's wearing makeup, all kinds. Like I couldn't tell that, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. He knew somebody would be coming.
Well, he told people that the CIA had a contract out on him because he trained the Contras.
Oh, wow. Look at that. What a story.
Now, listen to this. So I don't know this guy. He's a weirdo, right? So I stopped thinking about it. Because when he told me that he trained the Contras and the CIA was going out to kill him, I stopped thinking about bad thoughts because maybe this guy can read minds. I don't know.
Right.
So I just stopped. So what happened was he was basically stalking this girl she's 15 years old and she was in beauty pageants, like a JonBenet beauty pageant.
Yep, JonBenet Ramsey.
So anyway, the parents got concerned about this character always hanging around. So the day before she was to testify in the restraining order against him, she don't come home from school.
Oh, no.
6 months. No word. Nice family in Chesterfield. Nice family. No word. No. Where's my daughter? No word. So the Chesterfield police said, we are in the FBI. He goes, we have no leads to work. We have nothing to go on, but we got an idea. We know a guy.
So they come to you.
Yep.
So you got whatever info you needed. You follow this guy to South America. I
figured out who he would be in contact with. The person denied it. I made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And got a lead, and I'm off to Costa Rica.
Wow.
And I infiltrated his cult. He was like a cult leader.
Right.
And so after about 10 days, certain people in law enforcement said to me, look, we're sick of this guy. Take him out in the jungle and stick your 45 down his throat and get the information.
Right.
And I said, well, that's easy for you to say. I'm just a civilian.
Yeah.
So I said, I got one more plan. I think I know how to. I said, I got to change the environment here. So I hired 2 guys. I went to a bar named Joe's Bar in San Jose. Go figure. And I said, and I hired 2 guys to go to this guy's girlfriend's house, kick the door in, and tell them they're bounty hunters and they've come to get him. Meanwhile, across town, I'm with him at lunch. So it can't be me, right?
Right. So there's the trust factor.
Yeah.
Way up,
so
way up.
The people behind the counter there with the receptionist or the lady in charge of the phones goes, oh, there's a phone call for you, Mr. Ditko.
Uh-oh.
And I said, well, just take the call up in my room. That way it's private. So he goes up to my room to get the call because we're in a hotel.
Right. And
so I go around the corner, and there's a bamboo curtain between me and the lady answering the phone. And I knew the procedure on the hotel that they write down the phone number.
Right.
So all of a sudden, he comes down and goes, we got to move the girl. We got to move the girl. I go, what are you talking about, move the girl? I don't know nothing about no girl.
Right.
And anyway, so he placed a phone call from my room, and she wrote that down, and I memorized it. So he takes off running to go back home or wherever he's going to go. I called the FBI.
Here's the number you need.
This is where she's at.
Wow.
And they found her in a militant Mennonite community in Utah, and the SWAT team hit him and got the girl.
Oh, that's crazy. And so how soon after did you get confirmation, yeah, we got the girl? Pretty quick?
Couple hours.
And so then the focus went to this guy.
Right.
The U.S. was not going to extradite him.
No.
Too much money.
Yeah.
All right. What happened to this guy?
You already know what happened, right?
I do know what happened.
I've heard this. Every time I appear as a professional witness in court on an investigation, they always bring this up.
I've done my homework.
All right. So anyway, I had went to the embassy and checked in with the CIA, and they gave me somebody to help me, a CIA guy.
Right.
So they said, look, this guy can cause you some problems. You got the girl. You just want to go home. Screw him. So let's go dump him off on top of a mountain. Well, it turns out the mountain to be a volcano. It wasn't like a boiling volcano, okay?
It's an old one, right?
Yeah, so we took him up in the mountains and tossed him, helped him out of the car. I was being nice. And so to this day, and about the same time that movie came out, Joe versus the Volcano. So I don't know how many times that I have said, look, I did not throw him in a volcano. Yeah, that mountain was probably a volcano 3 million years ago, but no, I did not throw him in a lava bath of a volcano. But I did.
Good.
Got rid of him on top of him.
The good guys win one.
Yeah.
We like that.
I got the girl. That's all I care.
That's right. And you know what? He got a little bit of justice.
Oh, yeah.
Just a little bit. Joe's justice. Hey, guys, we're going to play some commercials. We have Joe Adams in here. He's got some more wonderful stories. He's going to tell us what is happening down on our borders. It's a very popular topic here at election time, and we'll be right back on the Rick Fowler Show.
Of pets. When you need a kennel, select only the best, and that's Spencer Kennel in O'Fallon, Illinois. Spencer Kennel offers premium care of your pet in a clean, friendly environment. All of our kennels are inside-outside kennels, climate-controlled, and come with a Kuranda bed. We even feature 2 wings to accommodate smaller and elderly dogs in a calm setting. Feel free to come tour the facility anytime during business hours. Spencer Kennel in O'Fallon, Illinois, 1405 East Highway 50. Contact them online at SpencerPets.com. Once again, that's Spencer Kennel in O'Fallon, Illinois. Locate them online at SpencerPets.com.
Hey guys,
Looking for something different? How about Grogan's Academy of Martial Arts? Located in Edwardsville near the post office. Their mission is to help each student live the best possible life through exceptional martial arts instruction. They are one-of-a-kind life skills and character development academy that specializes in positive motivation, physical fitness, and practical self-defense. Kids learn to make good choices and develop good habits, leading to better behavior at home and better grades in school. Teens develop confidence and high self-esteem while learning to focus their attention and achieve goals. At Grogan Martial Arts, their principles are humility, integrity, courtesy, confidence, courage, and perseverance. Their goal is black belt excellence, and they lead by example. Visit them online at grogansmartialarts.com or call them at 618-656-7700. Once again, that's grogansmartialarts.com or call at 618-656-7700. Looking to purchase a house? Look no further than Epic Realty. Epic Realty specializes in the personal side of the realty business, catering to new owners or owners that haven't bought in a while. With our 201-point selling process, each agent takes great care in making sure your experience is refreshing. Unlike the big names in the business, Epic Realty ensures that you aren't lost in the shuffle. With our high-tech marketing, we use the latest tools in the business to your advantage and at no extra cost. Epic Realty is based in Madison and St. Clair counties, as well as St. Louis. We not only help customers to buy new homes, but we also hold seminars for new buyers. Essentially, we're a personal service ready to handle each new buyer with care. Intimidated by the process of buying? Look no further than Epic Realty. Contact Managing Broker Kim Binda of Epic Realty at 618-205-3337 or online at epicrealty.biz. Once again, that's Epic Realty at 618-205-3337 or online at epicrealty.biz.
Gonna be some sweet sounds coming down the night shift.
Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camp.
Hey folks, you want to get in shape and lose weight? Look no further than Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camps in Granite City. Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camps run classes 7 days a week, specialize in training ordinary people, but delivering extraordinary results. In fact, they cater to people who aren't elite athletes. Mike Dawson has created what could best be called a gigantic support group for those wanting to not only get in shape, but to stay in shape. Contact Mike Dawson at 618-806-5311 or on Facebook at Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camps. Once again, contact Mike Dawson at 618-806-5311 or on Facebook at Dawson's Fitness and Boot Camps. Sing it. We will rock you. We will rock you.
This is Blaine Sumner, USA Powerlifting National Champion, and you are listening to The Rick Fowler Show.
All right, you're back on the Rick Fowler Show, and that, of course, is Illegal Alien.
From Genesis.
Yep. Couldn't have a more fitting song here with Joe Adams in the studio. He's been chasing the bad guys all of his life, and in the last 11 years, we're going to hear how he's chased the illegal aliens at the border. So if you just joined us, this is the Wednesday Rick Fowler Show on Riot Radio. We have reached our 6-month anniversary. I'm not sure how we're still around, but we are. This is the 26th edition of our show. So if you missed the first portion of Joe's show, we talked a little bit about what happened. He was the very first guy indicted in the Iran-Contra situation. He worked for Reagan and the administration. He was in Croatia, Burma, South Africa. Private investigator work. And so after moving from the PI work, your focus shifted to the border, and it's been one of the topics in the forefront of the election and Trump campaign. Is it really not an interest to the current administration, or do they not care about it?
No, they care exactly about it. They manipulate it in a different direction, though. They all want open borders, which is absolutely suicide.
Right.
We have border protection now, and 95% of the heroin in this country comes from Mexico.
Right, and it used to be Middle East, Afghanistan.
Right. That's all changed. The cartels have taken over. They control the borders. We don't.
But you were interested in the borders long before now.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I had become an instructor with the Dry Climate Survival School for the military back in 1981, and I trained with the U.S. Border Patrol, and I trained the first U.S. Special Forces troops to go to the Mideast. And in fact, I actually asked one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that, why are you having me train these guys in desert survival? He goes, son, we're going to the Mideast. And I said, why are we going to the Mideast? This is how long ago this was.
Right.
And he said, oil. And that's all I got. So I started teaching people to be trainers for the dry climate, because we had no desert program. I'm one of the first instructors.
Right. And so this is 81. This is 8-9 years before the Desert Storm and all that good stuff, right? And so we've learned that we can't really trust the news. Tell me, what is really happening at the border?
Oh, we are at war on our southern borders. When I'm taking fire, I'm telling you we're at war.
Right.
And, all of my people are volunteers. Nobody gets paid. We have a foundation where we take donations. Too bad Hillary Clinton almost made foundation sound like a dirty word, right?
Right.
Anyway, we are a foundation, a nonprofit we applied for, and people who appreciate what we do and that can't physically do what we do or don't have the expertise of what we do participate by donating money to us to keep us active on the southwest border.
And so your group is the Project Blue Light Scouts, right?
Right, Project Blue Lights, yeah.
Okay.
Project Blue Light Scouts, yeah.
Okay.
And we got a website, which is still being developed.
Right.
Because understand, for years, when I started in 2005 working the border down there and seeing the problems, and I saw what was coming. The people coming across the border in 2005 were, for the majority, just trying a better way of life.
Right.
You mean, what wouldn't you do for your family?
Your normal illegals. Right. And who could blame them? You're hungry, you're broke.
I'd do it.
Let's go get
for
a
my
job.
family.
Right.
Before my family's going to be hungry.
Sure.
I'm going to do that. But now, since the cartel has taken over the borders around 2010, it's all changed. No one comes across that border unless they pay the cartel.
So it's controlled all by the cartel.
Jay Johnson, that arrogant ass from Homeland Security, the head of Homeland Security, said last year that we are operationally controlled only 6% of our border. You know how dangerous that is?
Sure. And so the other 94% is left open?
Gone.
Open.
Wide open.
Porous.
Yep.
And there's no fence surrounding all of it?
No. Well, Congress has authorized funds to build another 700 miles of fence. Obama put a nix on that. They orchestrated and voted for 2,000 more Border Patrol agents, which I'm a big advocate of that. We need 3 times the agents we have now.
Right.
And nothing's been done.
Really?
No agents hired. No.
And why did they strike that down?
Because they want open borders. These are globalists.
Yeah.
This is a huge plan by the shadow governments actually running this world. Obama is not a dummy. He's a puppet.
Yeah.
But they want, open borders. Ask the people who live on the border down in their ranches. They can't even leave their homes anymore.
Oh, I bet not.
No, you can't. You cannot leave your homes.
Huh.
They're living a nightmare down there, and nobody's doing anything. A few people are, like myself and my scouts, but for the most part, people don't understand what's going on down there.
So you were you did a little bit of time and work with the Minutemen, is that right?
When I first went down to there was a Minutemen project that was a big, political, and they did a great job for what they could do. But then as time went on, I got approached by some hardtails, ex-Marines and Green Berets and stuff that's in this Minutemen group going like, hey, we know who you are. I go, oh, here we go again.
Oh, no.
So why don't you put it together, a special ops group down here, and we'll run ghost operations, go dark. And I go, perfect. So we actually just surfaced. People didn't know we were operating. Of course, the Border Patrol did, because I work with them on a daily basis. But no one knew that we were around for years. And then the border issue before this election kind of went dead prior to like 2013. People weren't talking about it. So I went public with what I knew, and Rolling Stone magazine did a great article on me, St. Louis magazine did 13 pages on me, telling people, hey, this is what's going on. You have no idea how this is going to affect you down the road. And then add on top of that, now we get the refugee thing, which is a win-win for the Obama administration, because that's what they want. They want chaos.
And you were recently on Chuck Woolery's show.
Oh, yeah, Chuck, great guy, yeah.
And it was not Love Connection, I'll tell you that. He's got his own talk show, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've been invited back on after the election to go into the refugee problem.
Wow. And Joe's website for the Project Blue Light group is projectbluelightscouts.org. So that's projectbluelightscouts.org.
And there's a lot of good information. There's some video on there, some updates, and we're updating on our missions and after action reports and stuff. So if people want to know what's going on the border, you go to that website, and I'm not going to pat it at all. I tell you the truth, what's actually from a first-hand experience.
Well, and that's what I like about you. I know I'd get a good answer on whatever it is. Joe plays games to win, not to lose. So, no doubt. Let me back up. How are the illegals getting in? Tell me the different ways you've come across.
Well, because we don't have enough Border Patrol agents to man the fence. Now, I don't know when this thing became a fence to a wall. What I see down there is a wall. And they go around it, go over it, go under it, and all these sophisticated tunnels now that they're finding, very sophisticated.
How big?
I mean...
Drive a car?
Oh, a small car, and sophisticated with air ventilation and all that. You know where that comes from? How it all changed? Because the cartels are now aligned with the Hamas, who've been digging tunnels over there
in the Middle East
for decades. They're the tunnel experts. Now, since the cartels have openly sided with the Hamas and the other militant groups, that
Muslim.
That's with the Black Muslim Brotherhood, Black Muslim Brotherhood, openly, and have told their constituents to side with these people and help these people. That's why these tunnels are being more sophisticated now in Mexico, coming to the United States, because of Hamas.
Because they've been doing it a long time.
They got plenty of practice.
They said, let's make a deal.
Yep.
We'll show you how to do tunnels. You protect us and let us through.
Yeah, now there's one thing I've got to get out to your listeners. Yeah. It's something that's happened recently in the last few weeks.
Right.
And I told Chuck Woolery that on his radio show, his podcast, that we were running an operation up in the drug routes, and that's where we operate. We're up in areas where either you're Border Patrol or you're us or you're the cartel, because it's a very treacherous area, very dangerous, and it's the safest way to get in if you're smuggling heroin, guns, weapons, anything. And there, by the way, there's a lot of weapons coming back into this country.
Oh, I would bet.
Oh, because think where the gangs are getting their weapons.
Sure.
Nobody talks about that.
Right.
And they're arming themselves for the upcoming turf war in the cartel in this country. They're arming themselves. So we're up there in operation. So I call in for air support and Border Patrol. Time goes by, I'm thinking, like, what is going on? So I call back dispatch a couple of times. I go, where is my support? I've got these dopers coming through.
Right. We've
got to get these guys. Not counting. Other times there were Middle Easterns up there in full battle dress going through these mountains. So the Border Patrol gets there, goes after the guys, and we make the arrests, round them all up, process. And I go, hey, what took you guys so long?
Where's my help?
Yeah, what's going on? They go, we have been ordered by our supervisors via Homeland Security to now patrol the less trafficked areas.
Wow. Why?
Well, the obvious answer would be to get the numbers down, which I saw on TV today, on radio, in the news today, that the Border Patrol has admitted that Homeland Security is doctoring the books about how many people are coming across, where a lot less are. No, there's more.
And so they want the numbers low to make it look like they're successful.
Right. Or,
is that right?
That's one thing. But don't you think the cartels know this? Now it's wide open.
Sure.
Talk about the heroin coming across.
Right.
And the explosives and guns. Now's the time.
So what are some of the items that you found? IEDs, explosives?
name it. It's everything. They like a lot. They smuggle a lot of hand grenades and machine guns into this country because they're easy to get rid of. But people have not addressed the gang issues in this country of where some of these weapons are coming from. They're coming from Central and South Mexico, in Central America.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. And so when you stumble onto this and you stop somebody and you nail them for having a bunch of the stuff, how do you approach it?
Well, the first thing they do is drop all of their equipment and run, because they know if they get caught with it, now it becomes a felony.
Okay.
So what they've actually done now is develop special uniforms where the packs, burlap that they make to haul this stuff, doesn't get on their clothing. But they don't understand one thing. Like, we recently did a big drug bust out there, and the illegals dropped their loads and took off running. We videotaped everything.
And are they carrying the stuff, pushing it, driving it?
No pushing. They do a leapfrog system. The illegals we might apprehend 40 miles from the border might have only walked maybe 10 miles. These guys are organized.
So they're staying there and they have a chain, a shift. Okay, I'm coming, you carry this, hand it off.
Yep, just like that. They're very organized.
Wow.
They've had a lot of practice again.
And so when you stumble onto something, are you skeptical? Do you walk up carefully, not knowing what's in it?
We run a ghost operation. Our best operation that we run, our perfect operation, is to never be seen.
Okay.
We spot them, track them. We watch these guys from 5 miles away.
And you guys hand it over to Homeland Security?
Yes. They come in. Well, Border Patrol.
Okay.
Okay, let's narrow that down. From Border Patrol is a part of Homeland Security,
right.
But we work
CBP.
We work with agents in the field, and they're so appreciative of what we do out there.
Wow.
So, but I'll give you an example. So, we're out on patrol. We're on patrols all night for 12 hours. Came back in the morning, and one of my guys go, Colonel, when we come through that last wash, did you smell that? And I go, no, I didn't smell it. So he goes, well, there's something dead out there. So we found a lot of dead cattle from the ranchers, and I said, well, what I was trying to do was get rid of these guys. I'm going to take a nap. I've been up for 12 hours all night long, right? So I said, go out there and check it out. So they're gone, and you can't enter my facilities without knocking and asking for permission, obviously. Well, they just come running in the door going like, uh-oh, we got one. I go, no. I go, male or female? Uh-oh. So we go down, and here's this young girl. Turns out she's, by ID, she's 32 years old. Through process through the sheriff's department, that she's got siblings here illegally, but she was with a group of 40 smuggling in machine guns and hand grenades.
No kidding.
So she got bit by a snake. They forced her nephew, was a part of the group, to continue on. He eventually gets arrested and says, oh, by the way, my aunt's missing. Right. They tried to find her, couldn't find her. We found her. And I think there's a picture of that on my website. I mean, her cell phone's laying right next to her, but what a horrible way to die.
Oh, my God.
I mean, just
get bit by a snake and die in the desert.
Yeah, and she was probably 2 miles away from being rescued.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
But she was running machine guns.
And so, just Steve Mayworm, don't get caught up with the wrong crowd. Hear that?
Yeah, I know.
No machine gun running. Any questions for Joe?
Pretty interesting stuff here.
It's pretty fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you ought to become a border patrol.
47, I don't know.
I'm 66.
You're in better shape than me.
Well, I lead from the front, so when I can't do it anymore, then I'll retire. But
what about this? No doubt the Border Patrol has a tough job. It's almost an uphill battle that it doesn't sound like they're allowing them to win. That close to the border and the cartel, and we know every job has its bad apples. Are any of the Border Patrol probably on the take?
What they do, they've got a process where they move the Border Patrol around every 6 months,
so they can't get attached.
To reduce corruption. Okay. Do I know of any on the take?
Just in general.
No, I mean I wouldn't tolerate that. But
right.
I mean, come on, they're human beings, and anything's possible.
Sure.
And they've had arrested. There's been several arrests of people that collaborate with the cartel. I hate to say it, but it's true. Right. That's the facts of life.
They can resist anything except temptation.
Yep.
What about that? Think about that for a while.
Or threats of killing their family.
Well, that would be something if you lived down there with your family. And,
it's a war zone.
That'd be tough. So you founded the Project Blue Light. You work at the Border Patrol. Your group has caught over 10,000 in the last 11 years.
Yeah, it's give or take 100 either way. Yeah, about 10,000.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and we stopped keeping track of how many tons of narcotics and weapons. We just gave up because understand a lot of this, because of running a ghost operation, these guys will disappear off into the horizon or the sunset, we've got tracks behind him. Border Patrol arrests them. We very seldom even know what the contraband was.
Well, the important thing is you've handed it off, and they handle it, and they do it. And so, they're not just coming from Mexico. What are some of the countries been from the people that you've stopped?
According to the best we can check, we have helped apprehend people from 126 different countries. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know there were that many countries on the planet.
Right.
And it was 11 terrorist states, now it's up to 15 terrorist states. Iraq, Iran, Pakistan, I mean, any countries that have, host terrorism. Everyone on the planet. What's really strange is we have apprehended people from 15 terrorist states, but the Obama administration only identifies 4 states.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're in trouble.
We're in big trouble.
Jeez. Now, what about this? What about the area that your group covers? How many stretches or how many miles do you guys man?
We have the ability to patrol 325 square miles.
Wow. Really?
Really.
I didn't know you guys were that big. I mean, I'm picturing you guys covering 200 or 300 yards. How many guys work for you?
On this next mission, be 22.
Okay.
It's very limited. So we get intelligence from Border Patrol. We support them in their operations. We know where the traffic areas are because the cartel trades areas off from one to another. They run diversions. They'll run. Usually, when these people come across these groups, they come across in floods,
right.
And that way the cartel can use them as a diversion to run the real money stuff through. Because
somewhere else, right?
Yeah. So
right.
like right now, when they're working the less trafficked areas. They charge like $1,200 to $1,500 for a Central American or a Mexican people to come across, but they charge $50,000 plus for a Middle Eastern. So they'll use the diversion to make $50,000. Right. This video that I have of Middle Easterns coming across into this country in full battle dress, full battle gear. There was 5 Middle Easterns and 2 coyotes. That's the guides from the Mexican cartel to guide these people across.
To bring them across.
Right, and that was really rare because. I thought, now, what's going on here? Why would they send 2 coyotes with just 5 guys? Because it's a valuable cargo.
Right. $50,000.
Yeah. And I found these guys and spotted them and videotaped them for the Border Patrol. I believe it was 45 miles deep in the United States. They made it that far.
Wow, that's crazy.
Insane.
And so here's the big question. How do we improve border security? I mean, aside from a 50-foot wall and moats and alligators and all, how do we do it?
The more you work down there, the more there's a dilemma. And here's why. First of all, you can just send in the Marines. Okay? But when you do that, let's say you build a wall. Now he's got me saying wall. You build a fence. You need a fence like what's down there because no matter what wall you build, they're going to climb over it, dig under it.
Right.
Okay. So what's down there is suitable, and it's a fence you can see through. And that's very important for Border Patrol because they can see who's on the other side of the fence coming forward.
Okay.
Now, anything that you build, if you build a wall down there, the number one priority is you have to man it. The Chinese had the Great Wall of China, but they put up 1.3 million troops on the damn thing. Okay? You've got to have personnel. All right? So that means 3 times the Border Patrol. Then once you do that, and the Border Patrol's down there, and the cartel now is losing billions and billions of dollars in revenue who they're probably paying to the politicians up here, somebody's going to be taking fire. Now you've got a problem with rules of engagement.
Right.
And the cartel's going to be shooting at our people from Mexican side. So what's the rules of engagement?
Yeah, it sounds like they'd be set up for failure because they never ever allow them to do what they need to do, right?
Right.
Or past history has shown.
Follow the money.
Right. Wow. Okay, I would never ask anybody else. This is the one time on the Rick Fowler Show that I'll ask this question. All right? And feel free to decline the question. So here it is, Joe Adams, the one time in history you'll hear this on the Rick Fowler Show. Who are you going to vote for?
Come on. You got to vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean,
give me the 2 or 3 reasons why.
Donald Trump.
Let me back up by saying I'm not a politics guy. I'm completely ignorant to it all. There are people that are good at it. I'm not one of them. So I sit and I make my judgment. Here's my judgment. I like pizza. Okay? I can eat it 2 or 3 days in a row. Day 4, day 5, maybe I'm tired of it. Day 7, by day number 8, I'm ready for something different. I've had 8 years of pizza. I'm tired of it. So there's my politics, and that's how I sum it up.
When I was with Donald Trump, he is not the person I see on TV.
Okay. You were with him.
Yes. He was very polite to me. One of his security personnel, his driver, I was within the Marine Corps. So he already heard all the Joe Adams stories before he met me.
Okay.
He couldn't be nicer to me, more respectful to me. So anybody who's that, I can't say anything bad about.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sick and tired of political correctness, which I'm not guilty of. I mean, I just tell it the way it is. They don't like it. It is fascinating. When I was growing up, you voted for the guy, not the party.
Right.
Well, those days are gone. You have no choice. And I know I've got listeners out there that's going to hate why I'm saying this. I cannot believe anybody listening to this show could vote for Hillary Clinton.
Because of everything that's followed her.
They're just a crime family.
Right.
I mean, they're terrible. These people had people disappear. They're involved in this. Is about power in the shadow government. Get rid of her. I'm so sick of the Clintons. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
They've got to get rid of them.
There it is, Steve Mayworm. There's your answer.
Yes, it is.
That's Joe's answer. All right, we have 3 final questions, and we ask this to every guest, so this isn't an isolated one. What does Joe listen to? What kind of music you like, Joe?
The Coyotes in the Desert.
Coyotes in the Desert. That's your music.
Yeah, I don't listen to music.
No iPhone, no music, nothing. Coyotes
there's no
in the
iPhone.
desert.
There's no iTunes on my phone. Nothing. Because I've actually, as an investigator, I had other detectives with me that said, "What is wrong with you? You never say anything. You don't listen to the radio. You're making us nuts." From I guess my days of surveillance,
You're focused.
Yeah.
All right. If you're on death row, what's your last meal going to be?
My mother-in-law's fried chicken.
Mother-in-law's fried chicken, and she's sitting across the studio laughing. All right, that's a good answer.
That's the truth. I'm telling everything I tell here is the truth. Okay.
Make some good fried chicken, do you?
Now, with that question being asked, do you know something that I don't know?
No.
I got a problem coming?
No.
Okay, right.
It's the what's Joe's biggest cheat food? That's kind of where we go with that. And we've heard lobster and steak and everything. So, all right, the one person, living or dead, that you'd like to meet or see again. It could be somebody you've never met, somebody maybe you knew.
Well, of course, George Washington comes to mind, Abraham Lincoln,
right.
Gordon Liddy. Oh, no, he's still alive. I'm sorry.
Right. It could be.
It would have to. No, it'd have to
alive.
be John Adams because I'm a direct descendant of John Adams. I think that John and I could talk about where I ended up in the family, in the things that we did, and how the country's evolved. So I think it would be John Adams.
All right, that's a good one. Who have we heard, Steve? We've heard Elvis. We've heard Michael Jackson. Right? Yep. So it's always a popular topic.
And even Patton.
Wasn't that yours?
Well,
Yeah.
I thought about that, but I still have to go with John Adams because I'm a descendant. So
Okay, right on. Well, before we close it out, could you give us a station ID? And this is how it works. You say, hey, this is Joe Adams, U.S. Marine private investigator, and you're listening to the Rick Fowler Show.
This is Joe Adams, Colonel of Project Blue Light, and you're listening to the Rick Fowler Show.
Oh, he nails it first time. How about that? All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on. Now, listen, we've got another hour of a show. You guys are welcome to stick around. It'll be chewing the fat and a much, much lighter second hour. So we are on to our Rush Lyric a Day. Thanks for coming. It was great.
I really appreciate you having me here.
We're going to take some pictures here, and let me get this next segment on the way, and we're going to be taking just a little bit of a break here. So we are on to our Rush Lyric of the Day.
It's time for your song lyrics of the day from Rush.
And your Rush lyric of the day is from Jacob's Ladder. And the lyric is, thunderheads are rumbling in a distant overture. And here it is, Jacob's Ladder. And that's a wrap.
Do you feel blame? Are you mad? Do you feel like Woods Bob Referendus? Get French. Want to play? Then I'll get the f*** out of here.
This is your celebration. But it's much too late for goodbye. Yes, it's much too late for goodbye. gentlemen.
Listening to The Rick Fowler Show.
Riot Radio. You found it. Total variety, talk, and music. Streaming live and available on demand. Go to riotradiorocks.com for the show schedule and all the info where you can tune in.